So, this is my 4th time writing an ADACA script. Hopefully this time goes better than the first 3. The first time was for the demo, which I scrapped. The second was too, but then the game came out. I was literally in the middle of recording the script and got a DM and was like, hey, the game's out. Started on the 3rd, but then my living situation changed, and now I'm writing this for a 4th time over a year after that first script was started and recording it over well over a year after that first script started for the 2nd time now. To say this has been a long time in the making is putting it very lightly. I streamed all the way to the rest stop title card, so the first section of this script wasn't written while I was playing like most of my scripts. I took brief but detailed notes during, and then immediately started writing the script after I was finished. I then recorded the rest of episode 1 sections while taking much more detailed notes during, which is what I normally do for these kinds of things. I have to preface here, Cirrus, I don't know how to pronounce their name correctly, the amazing person they are, gave me a free copy. That is my personal stake and bias here. I'm not being paid, nor do I have any other form of compensation, and my opinions are still honest regardless of that. Funnily enough, it was because I tweeted about the script that I was working on that I finished and was in the middle of recording when I found out the game came out, and I didn't have the money to buy it to capture new footage to rework the script really quickly. And this was back when I was in a living situation where I could make videos decently quickly compared to how I can now. And so Cirrus, without me asking anything, saw that tweet, DM me, was like, hey, you want a Steam key? And gave it to me. And then they've had the patience this entire time. At this point, a year ago, at the time I was writing the script, nearly a year ago, to not get upset with me or anything during this forced hiatus I've had against my will. Despite all the false starts I had and all the times I said I was going to stream and then ended up not being able to. I cannot stress enough how much I appreciate that, and that despite that appreciation, it isn't impacting what I have to say about this. I just wanted to make it clear, just because I got the game for free, just because Cirrus has been nice to me, does not mean that I'm gonna just, like, blow smoke up your ass. I'm not. Just getting that out of the way. Hi, don't mind me. I'm just recovering from the, would you call this an operation? I think this counts as an operation. So, ADACA. The game, not the immigration policy that is one letter away, is a first-person shooter developed by a single person. That person is Cirrus Pendrake, and holy shit, you really wouldn't be able to tell if Cirrus didn't openly admit it. If you don't have the patience to watch the rest of this video, I'll say it right here. ADACA fucks hard, and you'd be an idiot not to buy it if you got the spare cash. It is worth every cent, genuinely, honestly. If this video goes out before the 23rd, oh dear god it's not going out before the 23rd, then you can get it for half off on Steam and itch.io. If not, then the usual price is still well worth it. That's what you're going to be paying now. I don't know whether or not there could be another sale, so check if there's a sale, but if there isn't, it's still worth it. More than worth it. They could charge double the regular price, and it'd still be a bargain for a gem like this. The content that's already there is plenty, and it's getting updated over time. I'm going to do my usual thing of talking about how the game goes, with one thing. I'm only going to cover up until Rest Stop, the Rest Stop title card near the end of episode 1 before I'm going to put up a spoiler warning, at which I will only be covering until episode 1's end in this video. Why? Well, I've heard that this game is one you don't want to have spoiled, and from what I've seen so far, I'd be inclined to agree with that. I'm gonna make a part 2 video in a month or two, covering the rest of the game, but this video will only cover content up until that point at the end of episode 1. I am refraining from even playing episode 2 until I have finished this script and this whole video, so that I do not accidentally spoil anything by running my dumbass mouth, because I always do. Half of what I just said wasn't even in my script. I can't stop rambling, so I have to make sure that I do not stumble upon the incognito hazard of knowing the spoilers to run my mouth and say. We on the same page? We're on the same page. Okay. So you start in a tutorial area that is simultaneously world building. You're a non-binary conscript in a corporate army, and after some training, you get put in a cryopod. This game does the Half-Life thing where you, to my knowledge so far, up till the end of episode 1, do not experience any time skips that the character doesn't experience too. It goes all in on the immersive elements, connecting areas between loading screens, and generally doing a great job of making the world feel like a tangible, real place, despite the art style being very simplistic looking. I'm just now realizing I have 4 paragraphs in a row that all start with me saying so, and then talking, so I'm gonna skip that on this one. You wake up, and this cool looking guy called Dr. Chops, yes, he has mutton chops, has woken you up and replaced your arm with a cybernetic gravity gun arm. Yeah, you heard me right. This game doesn't hold all the fun toys for the late game, or for any time at all. It immediately hands you one of the most useful and fun devices ever put to a monitor, and lets you start smashing corporate cops who sort of look like the Combine with random environmental props before ever giving you a gun. Well, actually, it first lets you get shot by a police dropship, and then lets you do that. Close enough. Or shit, where is it? The gun fell. Son of a bitch. Oh, son of a bitch, Leroy. Okay. Why did I say well, I guess that is a son of a bitch Leroy moment right there, if I've ever seen one. How do I go forward now? Do I have to jump down in that? So, you get the first real combat encounter after killing that guy and taking his gun. You have to kill him either by meleeing him, or if you're, not a nerd, using the gravity gun. You and Dr. Chops fight your way down in this open area with tons of verticality. I really like how this game doesn't assume you're too stupid to shoot anything outside of a hallway for the first hour, which is what a lot of games do, even ones that have good verticality. It learned the right lessons from Half-Life and didn't copy the mistakes. That's the best thing I can say about this overall. And though that sounds like I'm saying that it's copied, it isn't. Almost every game since Half-Life has tried to take the right lessons from Half-Life, and most of them have not stuck the landing nearly as well as this have. And very few games that derive influence from Half-Life, even getting all the right parts right, ever bother throwing out the bad parts. And this does that, and it sort of just astounds me. You're shooting guys with a pretty okay pistol, throwing small shipping containers at them from across this massive arena, and then you get an SMG off of a cop, all in like the first 10 minutes. The physics puzzles are usually simple, and they're repeated throughout the game in new and novel ways. I will never get tired of chucking these battery things over absurd distances, only for them to snap into place perfectly. I'd call it jank, but honestly, jank has to be unintentional, and Cirrus damn well knew what they were doing. Every video on this game says this, but I feel like I have to say it again anyways. This game is very obviously and heavily inspired by Half-Life, Halo, and Stalker, and I think it learns the best lessons from all of them. It borrows some of the concepts of Stalker, the immersiveness and gunplay of Half-Life, and like the multi-faction sandbox combat of like Halo Combat Evolved, and somewhat too. Those specifically, as so far, I've not seen anything quite on the scale of Halo 3's massive firefights. It feels a lot more like those first 2 Halo games, where it was a lot tighter. I have to say yet, though, because this game never stopped surprising me, and I still haven't played episode 2. The pacing is great. You get to this room where you fight a ton of cops, and then you part ways from Dr. Chops. Since you probably need a break from combat by now, the game has you talk to a bunch of NPCs and do some platforming. The dialogue in this game is written wonderfully, and the lack of voice acting fits the tone, if I'm being honest. This game borrows both the old Half-Life pattern of combat followed by puzzles and world building, and the Halo Combat Evolved level design pattern of open to narrow and narrow to open. you can tell that the pacing was really prioritized, and those are the main tools used to construct that pacing. It works really, really well, and I've spent a long time trying to think of how to explain this, so I hope that adequately explained it. Oh shit, that guy behind me the whole time? Damn. Okay, cool, whatever, dude. You can stay behind and get killed by police if you want to, man. Playing milsim games where it's better to just shoot and suppress people has really helped with my aim, because you don't need to hit your first shot. You just need to hit them eventually. So I've got an SMG now, that's nice, I suppose. I knew I'd eventually get him. There we are, we're out. Okay. So we're now proper into episode 1, Derelict. Cool. The town is fun, lots of great world building. You just woke up like 15 minutes ago, got shot at by a police gunship less than a minute in, and now you're arriving in a town run by anarcho-communist salvagers who have to fight cultists and corporate pigs to survive. We'll get to the cultists later. Don't worry. We'll get to them. Can I kill somebody with this? I'm gonna kill somebody with that. The town goes to shit really quickly. Gunships start bringing in waves upon waves of enemies. You're introduced to the shotgunner here, and thus the shotgun. It fucks hard. It is literally just the Half-Life 1 shotgun reskinned with the alt-fire doing a double shot and everything. I'm not complaining. That shotgun fucked, and I don't mind getting to use it again. Same for the literal battle rifle, which is just a reskinned Halo battle rifle with the same name. They didn't even bother changing the name of that one. Again, I'd complain, but I don't mind getting to use a really good gun from two of my favorite games ever. So like, I'm not gonna bitch about it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So you fend off the pigs and leave to go find some rebel outpost. On the way, you get introduced to the sniper rifle, which certainly does the job well enough. I've not mentioned much in detail, but the gunplay is phenomenal. It's a solid blend of like Half-Life 1 and 2's gunplay with some Halo feeling to it as well, especially with some of the some of the weapons that aren't associated with either the corporate police or with the anarchist faction. The guns outside of those two factions get a really, really strong Halo vibe over the Half-Life 1 and 2. Anyways, apparently clearing out this train checkpoint saves the rebels at that town you left later on. You find that out way later on. Alright, let's check this guy's... Did his gun really fall all the way down? Son of a bitch. This game really is beautiful. The art style, the color choices, the wonderful outdoor areas, and the occasional massive skylines you can see they're just all top-notch. And that's with medium settings for all the graphics options to make sure that it runs smoothly while I'm recording footage. I just felt like I needed to take an aside and mention this here at some point because it is a consistent from beginning to end. I haven't talked about the health system yet, have I? I like it. So when you take damage, a portion is left in red. If you don't take any more damage, that part comes back. It allows for enemy attacks to do a lot of damage without leaving you fucked over and without a way to salvage the situation. I like it a lot. It solves one of the big problems of having a finite pool of health instead of regenerating health. So now you're in the woods, heading towards that base, and the cops are becoming increasingly a rarer sight. Then you encounter the cultists absolutely dunking on some of them, who had barely escaped the wreckage of a gunship. The cultists are great. They get this weird battle rifle and needler hybrid, and a weird flame weapon that arcs like a grenade launcher and can't be reloaded. Interesting to fight, since their shard rifles can super combine like a needler does. It's frustrating for you, but on the flip side, it becomes very powerful in your hands, so I can excuse it being a bit overpowered in the enemy's hands as well. I'll find plenty of shard rifles through here. Cool. Don't need to worry about that. Oh, this thing, it fucks so hard. I love it so much. Now, you might be thinking how cool it is to have 3 factions in all these varied areas in, like, the first 30 minutes of the game. And it is, but none of it compares to the next part. So you've been out in open areas for a while, and the game decides to funnel you into a utility tunnel. This was foreshadowed earlier by you being told not to enter those utility tunnels under any circumstance. So naturally, you're on edge. It's pitch black, there's glowing cultists riding everywhere, and then you hear them. I don't know what these things are called, but they make horrifying noises. I don't like them. Well, I like them, but I don't like the noises. They scare me. The red lights on their heads are a nice touch for gameplay, makes seeing them charge at you out of the dark even more terrifying, but also, of course, lets you actually see them to shoot at them. character later on calls them Cybernetic Homunculi. And that's a good enough name for me to use for now. They're created by the cultists, the fucking weirdos, who are also apparently space fascists. Lovely. I'm running out of shotgun ammo. Okay. Jesus, that guy went flying. The physics, I love the early 2000s style physics in this game. This section, title card tunnel vision, because of course the tone switch to horror is ushered in by a fucking pun. It's great. I love it. Tense as hell. There's this one spot where you walk into a room and all the doors bust open, and you're surrounded on all sides, and they won't stop coming for what seems like an eternity. Also, I was so nervous that I kneaded myself in the face at one point. So you finally leave there and reach rest stop. You walk around, talk to some NPCs, and then take a nap. This is where the stream ended, but not where this video ends. This is spoiler warning now. We're heading to the end of episode 1, though I would recommend just buying and playing the game before watching the rest of this, or my eventual part 2. There's a whole separate game mode I haven't even touched on, that's like open world with a different player character and story. It's worth the money. I'm telling you, go buy it and come back after you've finished it. Go on, get. Scram. That shit was absolutely crazy, right? Anyways, moving on. So after your nap, you go down to an armory and gear up. You get this absolutely killer laser magnum here. You're heading out because Kelly's worried about old Doc Chops, who is apparently headed out to some exclusion zone that now has a light shining straight up into the air from it. Also, I think I stopped to look at how beautiful the sky was at this point. I did that several times. You future me, show that here, please. So you hop in the truck. Yes, the space communists are still using regular gasoline pickup trucks, apparently, and head out. You stop along the way because apparently the gas tank had been leaking. You head off to go find gas while Kelly repairs the tank. A bit contrived, but I get it. You need an excuse to stop us. There's the excuse. I pick up these guys around a flaming barrel, and wouldn't you know it, one of them has an auto shotty with a fucking drum mag on it. And in the building you can find a suppressed DMR. Extreme long range and short range setup. Got it. I like this kind of subtle modifying of expectations. The armory bit makes you think that finding new weapons is going to be hard in this next section. But nah, 2 new guns because we feel like it, and they're useful guns too. Useful for other things. Well, the DMR anyways. You then find these fucking things, which terrify me for deeply personal reasons that I will never state on camera. I won't even use the word to describe what these things look like. I am that dead serious. I hate these things. Glad that they gave me an auto shotgun to put these things down with prejudice. Where they charge you down, the DMR really isn't that useful for them. You're forced down into this closed-in area to deactivate the power to this gas station down the road, and after you do it, those things spawn all around. And the only way out has wooden planks that need broken, so you can't just book it out of there. This game pulls a Doki Doki by having the first bit be a typical FPS before leaning fully into horror for a little while. And then faking out again, and then leaning even harder into the horror. And goddamn, I love it so much, but I also hate it, but I love it. So you get the fuel back to the truck and fuck off to your destination, and it is now thankfully daytime. The sound of this game is a bit weird. Sometimes you have the best sound design I've ever heard, and then at other times you get shit like the footsteps at the beginning of this level, where it's off in a way that is bizarre. This is something that isn't in the script that I've decided to add on the spot, but one of the few big complaints I would give is to some of the aspects of the sound design. Namely, the opening splash screen where it shows Cirrus Pendrake, the audio is like, if you have headphones on, I would genuinely recommend that when you start the game, take them off and don't put them back on till that main menu shows up. It will blow your ears out. It is deafeningly loud. It genuinely hurts. It gives me a headache. Cirrus, please, for the love of fucking God, tone that down. Please, turn the audio of that splash screen down. And also there's some weird audio quirks here and there. As I said, the sound design's amazing most of the time, but it just has these weird moments of, like, where you can tell that this was one person desperately trying to polish up something way bigger than one person can polish up in a reasonable amount of time. So I can't really be mad about it, but that is one complaint. I think you'll notice little rough spots like that occasionally, like the footsteps at the beginning of this area, or that opening splash screen, or other things like that. You head in, get in a three-way firefight with the Fuzz, and get another new weapon, the machine gun. This thing rocks. I wish there was more ammo for it. I found a weird, ominous police orb that had a black box recorder in it. No clue what that's for. I'm too dumb for it. New enemy, the machine gun guy. I think his whole gimmick is sort of self-explanatory. He's a bulldozer from Payday 2, sort of.
Do you even know how fucked you are? You're up against the wall, and I am the fucking wall!
You fight through this area, use that DMR to pick off the mines at a distance to save yourself trouble, and end up at a depot for the police gunships. I lose a fight to an inanimate crate here. No comment other than that. After that, you head back past that force field, and god damn it, you again. And a new enemy. With a bizarre new weapon. Put them down, take the gun, and move the fuck on before these things visit you as sleep paralysis demons. Or don't, I'm not your mom. Or mommy. Unless you pay me to be. Anyways, the ground collapses, and now you're in a mine. Way back in it, you could say, with your pickaxe swinging from side to side. Anyways, that's it for episode 1. You got the last of it with a spoiler tag, but I ain't budging on this. I'll do a part 2 covering episode 2 and the zone patrol mode in a few months when people have actually had time to listen to me and play this fucking game. If there is nothing else you take away from this, play this fucking game. This is overall an amazing game, and I'm genuinely baffled at how a single person made it. If you take nothing else away from this video, play ADACA. Go right now and play it. Pay this talented motherfucker your money and then finish it. No self-promotion this time. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Thanks to Cirrus for all the patience despite all of the shit that has happened. Until next time.